What's up, guys? Welcome to Toaru podcast number 11. We are joined by the regulars, Malcolm and Toonie. Good to have you back, Toonie. And we are joined by none other than the Stiyl Magnus.
Hello.
Would
Thank
you like?
for. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was going to say, would you like to introduce yourself? But it's fine. Also, 1 second.
No. Thank you for letting me be on here. Wow. I didn't think I'd be on this podcast. I've been watching your channel since you started and then it started booming. So it's an honor, I will say. It is a complete honor. I just to give a little bit of background. I just do fanfics sharing on the Toaru Amino app. And I've known you for quite a while now, haven't I, Aaron?
Yeah, it has been a while. Time flies when you're having fun, though. And
it does.
You definitely were an active member of that community over the years when I was running that. And I made the transition from that app to here, and I'm glad I did. But all things must come to an end. And I know you're still active on it, but it's just like my involvement of it came to an end to focus on this. And yeah, I think that was the right decision in the end. But yeah, it's good to have you on, and we'll be able to share some old memories in the future, I'm sure, because I'd like to do a future podcast about those early days of the Toaru fandom on that Weeb app, which I'm sure people would be excited to hear about, because it was quite funny back then. Also, let me just send a link to my Discord to make sure people know we are live. There we go. Yeah. Make sure you like the video if you haven't already, so more people can check out the podcast, maybe for the first time, or maybe for a second time, or if they somehow have missed the notification. And also, we'll be doing a Q&A section right at the end of the podcast, but if you do want to say something early or jump ahead of the queue, if you want to send a super chat, that'd be greatly appreciated, and we will answer your super chat as quick as we possibly can. Anyway, why are we all here? We are here because Railgun had a birthday, and it's now older than the main protagonist, Misaka Makoto, because Misaka is 14, and Railgun is now 15, which is kind of mind-blowing to think about. But yet, here we are, and we got some news about some Railgun-related announcements, so I'm pretty, I don't know, mixed feelings perhaps. Yeah, I'll let you guys discuss it because I know I've talked about it on my channel a bit. So I'd like to hear your guys' perspective on the announcements that were made and the whole anniversary thing. So who'd like to start?
I will. There sure were some interesting announcements, weren't there? And by that, I mean, there wasn't really anything of interest announced. Yeah, I mean, all we really got was we got the Mental Out manga that came out, which is cool, and we had some statues announced for Makoto and Shokuho. I mean, to be honest, it's mostly what I expected it to be. I didn't really expect them to announce like a new anime on Railgun's 15th anniversary, just because it would feel out of place for them to announce a Railgun anime. Or they'd have to announce an Index anime, I feel like, first. And it would seem really weird if they announced a New Testament anime on the Railgun anniversary. But yeah, I mean, it's what I expected. There was a lot of fanfare and like people getting really excited, and that sort of makes you more excited yourself. But in the end, yeah, I mean, it's to be expected, but somewhat disappointing.
If I jump in, so I thought it was a bit underwhelming. I wish there's something more, but I still basically expected what happened. I do think the merchandise is pretty cool, and I was hoping there's gonna be a bit more in terms of like typical figurines that are like out of the ordinary than what we already have. But overall, I thought it was a bit typical, nothing too crazy, especially for a pretty hyped up anniversary, I'd say. But overall, can't complain too hard. But I just wanted a bit more, but I think it's fine enough.
And
Well,
Stiyl?
yeah. So I was actually hoping for uh an OVA or something, just something small, because I don't know. I mean, I'm partially disappointed in a way that there isn't really. This is the 15th anniversary. You're on the front cover. My mind was hoping that there's gonna be something big. Like why why is it not there? Like, I don't know. I was happy about the figures that was coming out. I love the fact that the whole volume one of Mental Out was out, which which I really enjoyed, and which I had a good binge read throughout this week, which was very interesting, which I'll add later on. I just have very mixed feelings. Most of it is towards disappointment, but the other part of me is I'm glad I got something, but I feel like there could have been more, considering how well Railgun has been for the past few years or decades or so, and I just think there could be more,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah,
makes
just
sense.
mm,
Like,
like I said, I know, like an OVA. Just I'm happy. I'll be happy with that. Just something silly. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah. In some ways, it felt like I saw more Misaki than Misaka this anniversary.
It's understandable because considering, well, with the Mental Out being they've only just started this year, haven't they? So I'm guessing they would want to try and push the Mental Out volume a bit more,
Yeah.
rather than what Railgun is currently doing at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy, at least with that much, that we're getting that Shokuho has sort of become such a mainstay in the franchise.
yeah, I think we did get like a few announcements. We got a decent number, but a lot of them were kind of old news in a way. They were kind of announced prior, so a lot of them weren't a surprise. And to be fair, we do have like the possibility of like 2 extra announcements potentially from those squares. But I think you said that they're filler images, or is that right?
Right now, at least in the code, they're just filler images, but it's not hard to change them over into a link. But for right now, yeah, they could be anything, but it's just hard to say. They could also just be they didn't really think about the formatting of it and just did a 3x3 without having all the announcements to fill it. So hard to say.
Yeah, I don't know if the website will update like it could do. Maybe it'll just take time because like one of the things that got announced was that new side story, and even that hasn't been given like a release date, which is a bit strange. Yeah. So I'm assuming the website will be updated in the past. I mean, it'd be strange if they made that website just for like one day or like a week. It's like, oh, here are the announcements. Now that website's basically fucking useless. Like,
right.
I don't know.
If I had to imagine, there gotta be more to it. Like a whole domain with like even if it's nothing in the blanks, I just gotta imagine there's more to it. But considering the time it is now, it might be hard to even justify that. But I feel like there gotta be more to it.
It could come with the side story, possibly. It's hard to really say until that comes out. I sort of feel like the anniversary is technically ongoing, just because that's such a big work and it's got like all of the illustrators from the different manga and such. So it's like it's this big collaborative effort, it seems, and it feels like I can't really imagine this kind of thing coming out without considering it like part of the anniversary. Like we got a whole year technically, I guess.
Right. For sure, I see that. And it's considering the fact that So let's say even if there was 9, now we got 7, and I feel like they're probably saving probably a bigger one for like another time. I wouldn't imagine they'd do everything in like one day, as you mentioned. So I think that's definitely a good way to look at it.
I mean, that's what I was hoping for as well. For that, if this is still an ongoing thing, then hopefully, pray to God, we'll get stuff on long way to line, and then those 2 little slots get filled up with lovely goodies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think it does make more sense that the anniversary would potentially span like the entire year, since it's kind of like the year of Railgun in a way, or at least that could be how like they're treating it. And yeah, you make a good point about like the side story being a collaboration of all the Toaru artists. You know, we've got all the way from the index mangaka to Haimura to even the Idle No Accelerator mangaka. Like it's a huge collaboration in a way, and it kind of made me puzzled in a way. Like, why have this huge collaboration across the franchise for what is seemingly Railgun SS4? Like, no disrespect to the Railgun side stories, but you know, the ones in the past, it's just been you know, the Fuyukawa, the Railgun mangaka, doing the art as opposed to Haimura. So yeah, it just makes me think, like, is there a reason why? Like, surely, I know it's for the anniversary and everything, but why specifically for that?
Right. Would you consider this similar to the event where they had all of the voice actors? I feel like they had a ton of voice actors there in that one event. I believe like a half a year ago, a few months ago. And it was like nothing led up to it.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully this isn't another situation like that.
Oh well, they've set a precedent now, haven't they? So
You're right.
Yeah, because that event you're speaking of, I think that was like post Railgun T or something, or
It was
I don't know if it's just after it or it was while it was airing, but yeah, but it had like the level 5 voice actors, but it also had, I think, some of the Magic side actors, if I'm correct. I can't remember, but I don't know if it was mainly Science side or it was a mix of both. But yeah, at the same time, like, people were expecting we might get some something announced, maybe like something small, obviously, because we just came off the anime. But I think they pretty much just answered questions and they did like some stupid like Japanese television style games for the rest of it. And I was just like sitting there like watching what the fuck is going on, because some of these Japanese like TV show games are just mad and you just can't understand them.
yeah.
Does anyone want to talk about what the side story might be about, or
Have we gotten any hints? Like, it's gonna. I imagine Shokuho will be involved in it with how they've sort of been advertising it so far, or with how they've advertised the anniversary. So focused on her. But beyond that, like, it's up in the air. It'd be cool if we got some. Well, with how it is going in Railgun right now, it'll probably somehow involve the student council at Tokyo Wadai.
don't tell me it's gonna be another clique war.
Oh,
Nah, it's fine. I mean, we'll talk about the mental art manga later, but it seems to be straying away from the clique stuff a bit, which I like. Okay, the clique stuff is still important, but it's got another facet to it.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping it stays that way in that manga. But yeah, I feel like we need something more fresh than the Tokiwadai stuff. But at the same time, I know, like, is it Ogino Kentaro, who's the Railgun editor? I think someone mentioned like he's not interested in like a Magic side spin-off or something, because he's like, he loves his Tokiwadai Railgun stuff so much. But I don't know. But I mean, he doesn't control everything, you know. It's up to like Kazuma Miki as well, and people like Denkeki Bunko. So you never know.
Definitely. But yeah, it's been interesting watching how how this is all going down. It's so strange that we have this big like student council flashback arc in Railgun, and then we get the Mental Out manga, which is a present day student council arc. Which I wonder if they're building up towards something with that, like if there's some sort of like reveal we'll get from both of them. Right now, it seems like the Railgun arc is focusing really heavily on Mikoto, how she developed into the character she is today. Which I'm surprised how much she seems to be taking from that other girl. The what do you call them, Gyarus or whatever, which sort of like worries me in some ways, because I don't want Mikoto's entire like modern personality to be based off this one character from the past.
Yeah, I agree. Like, hopefully that, because I feel like that would kind of ruin her originality a bit, because she had those standout type of characteristics, and it basically everything is from another person that kind of just shoved into the story out of nowhere. Like, I feel like there doesn't have to be a reason for everything. So
yeah, even like the socks, Makoto's socks, where she uses those really like baggy ones.
Right.
In the flashback, she's wearing normal socks, and that girl has the baggy socks, and she's kicking vending machines, and she has the Gekida hair, and it's sort of Makoto's sort of been somewhat dull. Like, it feels like she's very formless in the flashback arc. Mm-hmm. She's not as brazen as she is within modern day, and it feels a bit out of place. I hate like all of her key characteristics coming within this like short span of time in the past, because it's like 2 days and she's already like all of these things that have sort of made her special all sort of just came together at once. Shorts too. The girl wears the shorts. She suddenly came up with the railgun all of a sudden. It's really strange.
Everything needs an origin story.
Yeah, I mean, we got one for Kanzaki's pants, so.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Stiyl, I bet you've been around Kanzaki's pants too much.
No comment.
I know, all that time in Necessarius. But you chose the lolly nun instead. You madman.
I know.
It's weird to hear
stuff happens.
It's talking with a British accent. That's not right.
Nah, he's the OG Stiyl Magnus, not some American dubbing over Stiyl Magnus.
No, not American.
All of the British index are American.
Also, no disrespect to the voice actor Stiyl in the English dub, because I think he does a decent job. But he is American, and he does an American accent, which is questionable for Index.
Be happy they aren't doing British accents, because Texans doing British accents tend to be... it doesn't go well. If you've ever seen the Black Butler dub, the voice actress for Index, she voices one of the characters, and she has a British accent in it, and it's so bad.
Oh, I never realized that.
Yeah, she voices the red-haired girl, right, with the glasses.
Yeah,
I think she's like May or something.
Yeah, so be happy Index isn't talking like that.
Yeah, true. I mean, yeah, you kind of have to get like, I mean, American actors can do English accents, I guess, but I guess not in like the small corner of like anime dubbing. Maybe like, I don't think all of them can nail it potentially, especially with like Index, where you have like a lot of different characters with a lot of different nationalities, and it's like, oh, do you decide to have the Japanese characters have American accents? If so, when the American characters are introduced, what accent do you give the American characters if you already have the American Japanese?
Be British.
That reminds me, there's an anime called 91 Days, and the entire dub cast is speaking in like a different tone and it fits the whole scene, like the whole show of itself. I
Mhm.
can't imagine like there's only a certain like I can't imagine watching that show, but only a handful of them speak in like different type of way than everyone just speaks normal dub acting English.
Mm. Yeah, it's whenever it comes to English dubbing, it's it's on a spectrum of really good or really bad. It's generally hard to get that really middling performance.
I guess they just need me to move to the US.
Yeah, you can become a voice actor. Voice Alex.
Funimation's waiting
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, I can finally voice Caris's horse called Alex. Because
That was
Alex
your
is
true
a very
call.
important. Sorry.
That was your true calling to be a voice actor for a horse.
Yeah, I mean, Alex is a very important character in New Testament, so, you know, someone's got to do it. But yeah, is there any hope that we will get an anime announcement?
You want me to lie or tell the truth?
I don't know, but Index's 20th anniversary is coming up, like 2024. I think if we are going to get an announcement for something, it'll be next year.
Yeah, that's what I
Because then it'll end the next year after. If not, we're fucked. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's just not like last time where when the day they announce the anime is coming out is the day the people making the anime learn they're making it.
Wait, that was actually a thing?
Yeah, so the director for Index didn't know they were doing the new season of Index until the same time we all did.
Wow. That's really
That
crazy.
explains a lot.
Yeah.
You could even think about it.
Which in some ways I'm like surprised that he had 7+ years and didn't like sort of like they had 7+ years and they didn't consider what they were going to do beforehand. Like I'd imagine they at least would have had like a basic storyboard completed because Old Testament's been done for so long. It's surprising that they were just like, because he had the option of even just remaking it. So I have no idea what their limitations were, because it seems like if Katakawa was willing to let them just remake the anime or reboot it, it seems weird that they were also like, now you've got to finish the entire series within this short span. So I have no idea what the background of that whole thing was, but everything about it's just confusing.
I've also got a funny story about Index 3. I mean, it was from like an interview on like a magazine, I think, and someone translated it in Komachi land, so take it with a grain of salt, maybe. But because you know, like Komachi, he does get involved with the anime adaptations in the past, and he does presently, or at least he did for Index 3. Well, onto that. He kind of did, but kind of didn't. Apparently, like, he saw, like, the first arc, which is the document of Constantine. And he, I think, according to the interview, he had, like, an argument with, like, Nishikori, the director. And he was like, what you doing, or something? and Nishikori said, I'm adapting your light novel or something. And then apparently Komachi wasn't involved with like the rest of it. He just like chose fuck it. I'm out.
It's really interesting because Nishikori, whatever his name is,
Nishikiori, I think it's
Nishikiori.
the precise pronunciation, but Japanese is really difficult. And
yeah, some of the in some of the interviews I read as it was like coming out, that sort of got me excited. He was like going around. He's like, oh yeah, there's just so much I want to put in. I'm always putting in new scenes and taking out other scenes because I want to extend this scene. And he made it sound like he was fitting everything in. And he really wanted all the important stuff. But then it comes out and there's all these anime original scenes, and then just It's like, what was he talking about wanting to get all this content? Like, he made it sound like he was getting everything he wanted and he was super excited. But then it comes out, and I mean, like in the first episode, we had a few anime original scenes, which I actually like. When I saw the anime original scenes, it made me think, oh, if they're adding all these scenes, they must have everything planned out so it won't be as rushed, right? And that was wrong. But yeah, I don't know. Everything about that whole thing is weird.
Index 3 is just a strange beast in a way. Like I know like some people enjoy it. Like I know you enjoy it, Toonie, and I enjoyed it as well when it was airing. Like at least for the most part. Obviously, I was annoyed at. I knew it was never going to be as good as the novel, obviously, but I was like, for what it was, I was like, okay, cool. It's cool. Oh, Fiamma's cool. Even though I was like, oh, this could have been. This is better in my mind than it's appearing on screen, perhaps, but. Yeah, it's just okay watch every week, you know. Put it on. It's nice to watch, I guess. It's just like, oh yeah, some index, even though it's just like.
I mean, for the past 7 to 8 years, we've been begging for an index 3, but now we got it, so it's just we have to accept it. It's here. Love it or hate it. You got what you asked for.
Yeah.
I
to
think.
Be fair, like. Oh, sorry.
I think the point whenever I stopped like coping, telling myself, oh yeah, it's it's okay, was like the part that sort of like broke me and made me sort of like really actively say I don't like it. Is whenever we got to the World War III arc and the Toma Accelerator fight happened, and they just completely changed the whole fight, and it was just. The amount of time they took, I can't imagine they couldn't have adapted it properly. And it was just all these really random things, and it's just so inconsistent with the novels, and just some of the setup for like precognition, and Toma's like Accelerator's like punching Toma in the face. Like Toma should have died the first punch. And it's just like it came off as this really forced. It came off as what I really hate is whenever people are like, oh yeah, plot armor, all this. Because it came off as like actual plot armor for once. It didn't feel like Toma was supposed to win or he had a method of winning. Because it's just, he should have died in that fight, but he somehow runs through an avalanche without any issue. Like what?
Because he's Toma!
Yeah,
that's why!
He jumps like 1,000,000 feet in the air, like I don't know why he did it. He did it against Accelerator for no reason, like jumping in the air to punch him. Like, what does that help you?
He's Jesus.
And then he did it again with Fiamma. And it was, how is he jumping like a football stadium?
He jumps all the way across from the pillar he's standing on to the other pillar.
Yeah.
And it's like, how the hell does he do that? Because if you look at like the zoomed out shot of the pillars, it's like a mile between them. But the fact that they were on pillars to begin with and a Star of Bethlehem was whoever came up with that idea. I'm just like, why? They were never on pillars in the novel. I just imagine them in a generic fighting arena inside the Star of Bethlehem with, okay, the roof gets blasted off because the laser beam comes down. But, what are you saying?
Weren't they in a sports arena in the book or something?
I mean, yeah, it was. Yeah, I imagined it. Well, I haven't read it in a while, obviously, but from my imagination of when I was reading the scene, I remember it's then like generic final boss room, but obviously the roof gets blasted off from the optical laser beam, which Fiamma just brushes aside. But I imagine that fight being dynamic and then moving about and stuff. But I mean, Toma does move about, okay, in the anime, but it's more like the Matrix, where he's like, okay, I'm doing the limbo underneath Fiamma's sword of light, and it's like, okay, and you've got such limited room to move about in to dodge these attacks and to actually fend it off of even Imagine Breaker, and it's like, why can't Fiamma just like, when like Fiamma's about to lose, because Toma's arm gets cut off and you get the invisible thing coming out. Like when he starts to panic and he's like, okay, I just need to kill Toma now. Why doesn't he just destroy Toma's pillar? Just like, oh, bye-bye. So dumb.
That's a very good point.
It was just so strange for them to trade out precognition for Super Mario jumping. That was my main.
Yeah, because like the reason why he can't do that in a novel is because Fiamma can only teleport horizontally. He can't go up and down. He can only go forward or backwards. So if he did destroy the floor they were standing on, he would obviously lose his foothold as well. So they'd both fall down, and Fiamma wouldn't be able to necessarily make it back safely. So, yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot with that. I wonder about. Well, I guess we're getting pretty off topic because this is a Railgun podcast, and
I know it's always just fun to rant about Index 3.
Yeah. I was just thinking about those magic diagrams and stuff that were shooting out of his right arm at the end of it. Like it looked like a bunch of magic circles and stuff. And it makes you wonder about continuity. Like, why is it like that? Like we know like future anime stuff. I don't know. It's just a weird interpretation. It's hard to I don't know how far into spoilers I want to go, but I'll stop there.
Yeah, fair. I think it would be interesting to do a video about like the production of Index 3, because I think there'd be a lot to say about that, because there are like a few interesting facts about the production. Obviously, we don't know everything about the production, but the things that we do know are like pretty shocking, like in comparison to how Railgun and Accelerator were treated for the anime adaptations. So that could be a future video idea, maybe. But yeah, I'll end it there about ranting, because I know I can be very passionate when I rant about Index 3. Anyone else want to talk about Index 3 before we move on?
We'll be here.
I mean, maybe yeah. I mean, maybe they could. Since we're on the topic of magic, maybe they could try and subtlety put that into the mental out. I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah, funny you mentioned that, because I think, was it Ogino who did mention that magic appearing in mental out is a possibility, or something from the magic side, I think he said. So
I think
that could be cool. I mean, we already are getting something quite peculiar in mental out. I mean, we could talk about that now, since we have mentioned it. Do you want to talk about mental out?
I'm up for it. Mental outs. There's a lot to talk about with mental out.
There is indeed, because the last two chapters, they have been interesting. I think we did talk. Did we talk about the not this current chapter, the chapter before, where it was the level 5 reveal? Did we talk about that on the podcast before? I can't remember.
I don't remember either.
Toonie, do you know?
I'm honestly not sure. I believe it was mentioned briefly, but nothing as a full discussion.
Yeah, I feel like we may not have gone into depth with it.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that if we want. Like, well, we do know more about it now, because apparently that cube, which is a former number 1 level 5, is shadow metal, because apparently shadow metal is crystallizing cubes, even though when it did appear in Railgun T, it didn't look much like cubes, but apparently that's just like a crystallized version of it. I don't know.
Well, I think
apparently
it was like it's made out of it, shadow metal. Like, I think because they showed in the newest chapter, like it was still, whenever they talked about the big event that caused a bunch of shadow metal to be created, they showed that the landscape was covered in it. So I'm assuming you can craft it into, other materials like boxes.
Yeah, I mean, it provides an interesting mystery. Like, I'm perplexed by it in a way. Like, my theory brain has been, got a bit crazy on it. I went into that in the video, but it's so interesting, because it's like, why is that, level 5, or what claims to be one? Because it could be lying, but why lie? Unless it's doing a Kamachi style plot twist, which it could be doing. You never know. But for what it's worth,
the new chapter, like on the first or second page, it talks about the mystery of the previous generation or something. Which, you know, instantly with the reveal from the last chapter and that, and with in the previous GT novel where it seemed to come up a few times, it does seem like they are starting to build up the mystery of what happened with and with Biohacker. They're building up the history of, hey, why aren't there other espers other than these school students? If Academy City's been around for 50 plus years.
Yeah, I think I did mention about that. Like, it's something I've always been curious about, and I hope we do get the answers to it. But adding Shadow Metal into the mix makes it even more interesting, in my opinion, because obviously, like, people have wondered what on earth it is and why it's so important. So I guess we're going to find out. Or, I mean, we've had hints about what it can do, but yeah, I'm just curious about what you other guys think about it.
I find it interesting. I think it's kind of cool how it's kind of like this part of it is involved with Mental Out and not like the main series. I would imagine the main series would probably go into it more, but it's cool to see it like start forming in the science side through Mental Out. I think it's pretty interesting. And I'd imagine if the whole like this plot point would like evolve throughout Mental Out, that'd be like an ongoing plot in Mental Out, or there's maybe like a brief arc and it may get touched on other series in the Toaru. But I still think it's quite interesting. And I like for it to see more, but I just wonder if Mental Out's like the place to see more of it.
It's definitely feeling that way.
That's how I see it as well. It's interesting.
What about you, Stiyl?
I think, I mean, if this cube was a previous level 5, then what if Shadow Mental is just the name of its ability? It's like with Kaneki's dark matter, you know, it's just this white stuff that just comes out. But maybe the Shadow Metal could be the same thing, like they could be linked, basically. But I don't understand how if this cube is actually a level 5, how is this, like, did he do it on purpose, or was it just done by experiments?
Yeah.
It just raises more questions. And then when it says, "Oh, I'm the previous one," I'm like, so how many previous level 5 was there? And that's what's got me thinking since I've finished reading that chapter. My mind has just exploded. I cannot wait to see what they do with it. And I don't. Would you guys think they would put this in the new GT novels? Do you guys reckon? Or
I think it's possible. Just with some of the things Kamachi reiterated in the previous novel a few times, it seems like he is trying to get people to ask or question why there aren't older espers. One of the things that I'm curious about is but did we see how big the box he's in was? Because I sort of think of it as maybe like roughly the size of a head or something, or like enough to carry like a head. Because I don't imagine it's very big, and I'm curious, how's he in the box? How is he sustained there? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Also, I think you said Kaneki instead of Kakine for Kakine's name.
Oh, Kakine, sorry, my apologies.
I was like thinking, wait. I think the chat noticed and they were like, you're reading too much Tokyo Ghoul, man. It's cool. It's Japanese. It's a hard language. Like the amount of times I get roasted for my pronunciation, it's like, geez, calm down. Like I am from a secluded area in northwest England. Like, come on, cut me some slack. But anyway, yeah, back to topic. Like, yeah, I find it cool. Like, I want to know obviously the link between Shadow Metal and the level 5, but also like I really like the new villain. I forgot her name, but she's basically got like Sharingan, but for like Shadow Metal Sharingan, but it's in the shape of a cube. and she can dissolve stuff. So I wonder if that's the power of shadow metal. Like, it could be like the case where Stiyl mentioned, like maybe that previous level 5's power was somewhat related to shadow metal. I think that's a possibility. Maybe they could create shadow metal, but I'm curious how this girl has gotten this power, because obviously, like, there is no way that this is her natural Esper ability. Like, I don't think so, at least, unless it's some kind of pseudo level 5, level 4 bullshit, which we have experienced sometimes in the series. But I think for like Shadow Metal, how powerful it is. It only appeared when huge amounts of aim energy and Esper powers clashed in a Dire Seizai arc, which is obviously, not level 4 at all. And it obviously can't be level 5 because, we've already seen all level 5s. So she must have been able to somehow transmute this energy into her own power. So I wanted a story about that, and I also got some predictions about what may happen in terms of the story as well. So I'd like to discuss that after we talk about this. So
yeah, I'm wondering, so whenever she used her ability, it specifically it was in a cube or in a square, the way it disintegrated stuff, I guess. And whenever I was looking at that page, whenever the one girl's holding the Rubik's Cube, you see, while she's still holding it, you see this big shadow sort of project onto her shirt where it disintegrates too. But it seems like, I don't know if she's projecting something out of her eye, since they have the square irises. Like, if it specifically projects and expands in a certain way, 'cause she didn't seem to have perfect control of it. It seems like, I don't know, I feel like we were hinted a bit about how her power works, but it's up in the air what it really consists of.
So, anyone got any interesting theories about it?
I mean, it could be connected. I don't know if you said this or not, but it could be connected to that level 5, and that he's using his power to see through her eyes to see what is actually going on outside of out of his cube form that he's in. He's like, oh, what's going on out here? So it's probably what he's doing to her, and she's probably under the impression that, oh, she has Esper powers, but it's, as you said, there are a lot of things that are up in the air that we yet to confirm. So we're looking forward to see, what these new chapters might bring to us and shed some more light into us topics.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to learn more about it. I just can't wait for these more chapters to keep on coming out, because I feel like there's just a lot of speculation to it, and there's a lot of thought-provoking things. So I just honestly here for the ride. I want to see what happens.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, in terms of your theory, Stiyl, I do like that theory. Like, she could be, using the power from the previous level 5 into her own, which would explain. I mean, that looks like a powerful ability, of course. She just, okay, it was a Rubik's Cube, but at the same time, she's just dissolving something just by looking at it, which is pretty hardcore ability. Like, that doesn't seem like a slouch ability at all. But yeah, I'm just thinking, like, obviously, Kozaku Mitori has infiltrated this base where I'm assuming these thugs, which were working under her, we still need to remember her name. I have forgotten it, but like, she infiltrated there quite easily, and she's just stumbled across it. And it's like, if this was like so important to her power, would she, put it somewhere more secure? I don't know. Like, it seems like it's been discovered a bit too easily. Maybe
It's actually, now that I think about it, with her power, I'm wondering if it can actually hurt humans. Because she lost control of it a bit, but it didn't. It was able to go through the Rubik's Cube and through the clothes, but it didn't harm the girl's hands or go beyond the cloth. So I'm wondering if there's something with her power where it can't interact directly with humans, or like human flesh, skin, or whatever. But I don't know. So the organization, their whole symbol is 2 squares, right?
Yeah, or I guess it's meant to represent the cube, but yeah, it's the squares.
Well, I'm wondering, like, they had to get it from somewhere, and they chose 2 squares specifically, and that girl has, 2 squares in her eyes.
Oh.
So I'm wondering, it seems like it's got to represent something, and I'm wondering if maybe her family, she or her family, are sort of leading. It's clearly like some dark side organization. So I'm wondering if maybe her family, if it's a genetic thing, could somehow be responsible for the everything with the previous level 5s or whatever. But I don't know. It's still hard to say.
Now that you mention it about the 2 squares, if that does represent something, maybe there is another cube with another level 5 that was previously around. Who knows? Maybe there are 2 of them.
Just how they're
Maybe.
being stored.
Maybe there are 3 of them. You never know.
Oh, maybe there's 7 of them to represent the 7 level 5s that are around at the moment.
I mean, he was using telekinesis or something, or whatever, to talk to her. So if his power was, I mean, it could be a mental power.
Yeah, I'm. Also, I searched up a name and it's Camino. So just think of the planet from Star Wars and you're good. But like, do we trust Gawain at the moment? Because I think like initially she was set up kind of like how Shoko was initially set up in Railgun in a way, where she seems a bit antagonistic towards the main character. But as you get to know her slowly, she seems more, not being outed as the main bad guy in a way. So, and could potentially lead to Shoko and Gawain teaming up to take on Camino. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Unless it's just throwing us into a false sense of security, because we still don't know Gawain's motivation at all.
Yeah.
Like she wants to become, she wants to destroy all the cliques in the Takiwadai, I think, and become the president, the student council president. But beyond, but why does she want that? Like, so there's got to be something up with her that we don't know about. Well, is she conning us all, or is she actually just not as bad as she was presented in the earlier chapters? I mean, obviously she's antagonistic towards Shoko, but that doesn't necessarily mean she's bad. That just means she might just not like Shoko, which is a fair point. But yeah, so I'm curious about that.
I mean, she helped Makoto find her Gekura, and it was presented very much like she went really out of her way to do so. And I don't know, at the moment, I mean, she's even helping Shokuho out of the goodness of her heart, and seems to trust. She seems to believe that Junko is innocent of whatever. So I don't know. It's really interesting. Like, she comes off as, if she does end up being an antagonist, I think it'll be the type where, like, where they're well intentioned, but maybe they let their ideology go to a certain extreme.
Kind of like a 4 from New Testament in a way, so that they're not necessarily evil.
Yeah,
but
or
they're still like opposed. Yeah,
it could be a lot like what's her face in GT4, Railgun Girl.
In GT4
or GT5, I mean.
Oh yeah, we won't spoil that.
But that's it. Could be like her.
Yeah, we won't spoil that for the anime only watchers. That's an interesting spoiler. But yeah, anyone else want to drop their future predictions in terms of the actual plot? Like anything you'd like to see happen or anything along those lines?
I just don't want it to get too focused on the student council stuff because that's
Yeah,
the
that's
part
fair.
I'm currently least interested in. The level 5 reveal is what really like renewed my interest in it because it was sort of waning with just there's too much student council stuff happening in the Toaru verse right now.
Yeah, I agree. Like, when I was reading it all, I was just dreading reading this whole student council thing. I was just getting bored of it. And then when they introduced there's a previous level 5, I was like, my hype just went skyrocketing. So,
Right.
like, I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna keep. I hope they don't. But if they're gonna keep focusing on the student council thing, and just use what's happening on the sidelines as a little side story that we can have a little read up and enjoy, just so it gives us an excuse just to keep reading. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would prefer more of what's actually going on behind the scenes. Like, I want to know more about that, not what's going on with the whole student council thing. Like, I'm done with that already.
Right. I agree. I think a good direction would be instead of like having it, I would not want it to be like split where it's like two ongoing stories and it's kind of like the other story just kind of to take away from the ongoing student council. I would like for it to be more focusing on like the outside of what's happening with the previous level 5 more than just student council since this is mental health, we got to focus on these characters. I would like for it to have student council somewhat it would make sense to lead in to like this level 5 stuff. I would like for them to mix in a way. I know it might be hard to student council stuff, but I just think some way to blend it better and not make it like feel like two stories going on at once just happen to be in the same series.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I think Mental Out is doing a decent job at the moment, but I don't know. The Railgun manga at the moment is still not hitting with me yet. I feel like it just needs a bit more spice to it. Like we're getting some spice with like Mental Out, like in terms of Shadow Metal and the level 5, like the mystery of that. But the Railgun manga, it just needs something else to it at the moment. I feel like it's just very safe and just added like a bunch of new characters that, I mean, they're okay. I mean, what's she called? Like Mikigami, the girl who can turn herself really fat. I mean, that's kind of funny in a way. She can just squash people by turning her obese. But like, she's just a knockoff Kamisato in a way in terms of a character. People only love me for my power.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just really don't like this student council. I mean, something they have to be doing it for some reason. It seems so strange for them to just randomly do two student council stories at the same time.
I think like Mental Out, okay, it's introduced like a few new characters, but I feel like Railgun has introduced way like a lot of new characters in comparison. Like, you know, it's introduced like 3 new cliques of, you know, new leaders and then all the people underneath them. And I'm like, wait, who's this girl? Like, what clique does she belong to? Like, it's hard to keep up. Like,
It's just like slow down. It's just like slow down for a second. You know, just you're introducing far too many characters. Just let our brains process of what we've already just learned from these people, so we can actually recognize them for the next chapters that come later. Be like, oh, hey, I recognize you. Hello again.
Yeah, for real.
Plus, with my big issue right now with the Railgun arc is that it seems like we're getting this really long, drawn out arc for what seems to be really minor world building regarding Mikoto that I don't think anyone really asked for. Like, I think we all just sort of assumed her personality was just how she was. I didn't really need some girl to be like grooming Mikoto to become a tomboy.
This is how you kick a vending machine.
Yeah. But it's just really strange because we have all this student council lore in Railgun, but it doesn't seem to really matter within like modern day Tokyo Wadai, like the new student council or what we're dealing with all the clique leaders and stuff in Mental Out. It's just sort of it doesn't feel like they relate to each other. Like if I didn't have the Railgun manga, I wouldn't, or if I didn't have this current Railgun arc, I wouldn't be missing out on anything in the current Mental Out arc, which is sort of problematic because they're both telling student council stories.
Yeah, like I don't know if you guys watch Star Wars, but the current arc in Railgun at the moment is just giving me strong Solo vibes in the fact that it's like an origin story in a way, but it's not really necessary, and it's just full of like fan service. Not fan service in the way of, oh, okay, here's some boobs or something. Fan service in the way, okay, it's like, oh, you remember this reference? This is how this happened. Oh, look, it's Darth Maul who appears for 1 second, then for no reason. It's just like, oh, hi guys, I'm Darth Maul, then just disappears. It's like, what the fuck was the point in that other than to get the Darth Maul fanboys to go, oh my god, it's Darth Maul?
Yeah,
like,
actually, that's a really good comparison with Solo, because I think one of the big problems with Solo was that it sort of ruined a lot of the intrigue with Han Solo. Like he was just the mysterious bad boy, and now all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, your last name's Solo. It's because you're a solo person," or it was some dumb reason why he got the last name. So it's like, why did I need that? Like, it was just You answer whenever you answer too much, it becomes less interesting. Like, I didn't need Makoto. I didn't need to hear lore about why she wears the socks she does and why she kicks the vending machine and why she has the railgun.
Exactly.
I always just assumed the railgun was like scientists being like, you can create a railgun. Here you go. And she just did it. I didn't need like this big reveal, like where she just does it on accident.
Literally. Yeah. Like, it's she called like, what's she called? Oh, her name's like really long and ridiculous, but it's basically Gal, who has like the
Gyaru,
yeah, or Gal, or whatever you call
like
it in Japanese. Yeah. But she's got like a really massive name which is impossible to pronounce. But her with like the Gekota things, like, so obviously she seems to basically, she's just like, Makoto basically just stole everything from her. Like, like none of Makoto's quirks are her own anymore. Like, it's like, like, because people like the little Makoto like quirks, you know, that she kicks the vending machine, does the chaser thing, but the shorts or whatever. It's like
girl wearing shorts when she wears like only one button on her uniform button.
Exactly. I don't understand it. Like, we don't like, because I'm sure, like, I'm not, I just assumed like all other fans, okay, these are Misaka, or these are her unique, quirks, she just has these little characteristic moments, just whether it's, simply doing the vending machine gimmick, which is fun or whatever. Like, I just assumed, that's how she is, that she must have come up with them herself.
She's violent. No. I thought it was representative. Like, I can imagine her getting upset and just kicking a vending machine out of anger, and it just happened to work.
Yeah. Because that's it fits in with a character, but no, apparently she just got all of her unique little moments like that from someone else. Or why?
Even why? She's represented is like she's usually like blank face or just surprised by everything. Like she's so personalityless right now, like, which is so strange because she always had this really big personality and had the big whole. When she walks into a room, you pay attention to her because she took all, she was the kind of person people are drawn to because they're just so out there with how they act. But here she's just like, she's very, I don't know what the word is. She seems very introverted.
She's just very bland, not really something you would take notice of.
Yeah.
What do you think about her character at the moment, Toonie, in the manga?
I think it could use a lot of work, honestly. I feel like there's not much going for her other than just conversations that are had. I would like to see more just in depth of the whole, like pretty much everything in most aspects. Like, I just feel like there's a lot more that could be worked on and a lot more story to be told, especially with her character.
Definitely.
Yeah, and this is because like we just want the best for her in a way. We all want her to be unique and have a soul in a way. We don't want her to copy that soul from other characters in an attempt to, just give her a backstory which isn't necessary. Like we all know where it's going to end up. Okay, Kuroko is going to move in with Misaka, and then Shoko is going to get the biggest clique in Academy City. Not Academy City, Tokyo Wadai, but also Academy City probably.
I mean, Fallout's probably the biggest clique.
I mean, that's if you count that as a clique or not. But we know what's going to happen. But the question is the journey interesting enough to warrant telling the story of where we end up? Like, is it worth finding out why this happened or how this came to be? Is it going to intrigue the audience enough and be entertaining enough for us to witness this? Because if it's not, then this time could be spent way better. We could have got a Railgun arc in World War III with more of what Misaka was doing. Expand on that. We could have gone into New Testament stuff.
That would have been way much more interesting. Like, we could see through her eyes of what was going on during World War III. That would be incredible.
Yeah, that would have been really cool. Yeah, I think right now there's too much world building for like things that just didn't need world building. Like, it's sort of funny whenever you get one for Kanzaki's pants, because it's like so against her character that it sort of makes an interesting story. Like, why is this like seemingly like very like conservatively, like the way she acts, you think she'd be very conservatively dressed. But then she walks around with half her pants missing. And it's like, oh yeah, there's a reason for it. It's sort of funny. And it explains something that seemed out of character for her. But now we're getting things that are being explained that seem in character for Makoto, and it's sort of just taking away from her mystique a bit.
Sorry for the silence. I was just pouring a glass of rum.
Of rum?
Yes, because I'm a pirate.
Oh, well, I wonder how you're going to be by the end of this podcast.
No, I've got. Listen, I'm responsible. I've got some water next to me as well, because obviously can't clench my thirst so easily with just a straight spirit.
Here's an OVA: Alistair Crowley as a pirate.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah, you never know. I mean, he was up to some weird stuff during his lifetime, and he visited many countries, so I wouldn't be surprised if he teamed up with Luffy to find the One Piece.
That would have been the case if Tomo was really into pirates before moving to Academy City.
Oh, yeah. Yes, if Tomo was more of a pirate, then Academy City would just be, One Piece.
Designed to reflect. You would have just nuked it and put some water in there.
Well, I could imagine like Index being Luffy because they both eat like a shit ton.
Yeah.
So maybe Index would be the captain, and then just dragging around Tomo.
Yeah.
Who's the servant on the ship, scrubbing the decks.
Is there anything else with the Railgun manga we need to talk about or worth talking about?
I don't know. I mean, did you guys read the latest chapter?
Railgun?
I mean, I did. Yeah, I did. I kind of forgot about it, to be fair.
Yeah, if I'm going to be honest, I couldn't tell you.
I did. I read the latest Mental out, but not Railgun.
Yeah, not an awful lot happened, to be fair. I mean, I can whiz it out real quick just to give me a refresher.
That's just been the whole arc.
It was just basically...
Yeah, chapter 138.
She just learns how to use Railgun. And then suddenly off, you got this big... I just remember near the end of the chapter, there's like a standoff between these three other girls and this other girl.
Yeah. She bumps into like an enemy. This random girl from another clique bumps into an enemy group from a different clique. And they have like... I think like foreshadow, like from the start of the chapter, there's... Esper battles are kind of like a standoff in a way, like a gunpoint,
Yeah.
but you can't really. Yeah, it's like a scream or sneeze could set them off like you firing a gun. So, and I guess that's what happens later on because they have this standoff, this Mexican standoff. Oh, and you even get like the hand motion, so it's like a homage to spaghetti westerns. And then they fire, obviously. And then
it's just like,
Mexica's
what?
listening in.
It's
I just
just
made
like,
that
what are
chapter
they
sound.
doing?
I just made that chapter sound way more entertaining than it actually is. Like I should like narrate the chapters from now on. Like,
Need to get you on Amazon and start doing audiobooks.
yeah, someone hire me. I'll do the audiobook for Index if need be.
Yeah, if we ever get that.
Fingers crossed.
Only
You'd love to hear my Index impression. Toma!
I find
Close
it odd. A
enough.
quick note on the whole audiobooks with these light novels. I noticed that so they announced like the 3 voice actors, but 2 out of the 3 weren't anime voice actors. It was like audiobook voice actors. I find it interesting.
Man, I was looking at the announcements in audio or whatever their new thing is called, like they made yesterday, and I was sort of disappointed because at first I thought they were switching it up because it seemed like with their last batch they had like 1 male, 1 female voice actor, which I think for light novels I would prefer you either have like both or have a female voice actress do it, because I hate listening to a guy voice like these anime written girls who act all like tsundere and stuff. It's way super awkward whenever it's coming out of a guy's mouth and they're like doing their voice and talk more like a girl. And it's just, it puts me off. It makes me hate listening to the audiobooks. So, and
I 100% agree.
Yeah, with the last batch, it seemed like they did a lot of like duos, but with this current one, it was all like dudes or like I think it was one female. But it's just the one dude reader, and it's like I don't want to listen to it. Sorry.
Yeah, since I did a lot of advertising for the original Yen audios, it was like pretty interesting to hear because like with Sword Art Online, it's pretty much just Bryce Papenbrook the entire way voicing all these characters. But luckily for like I believe it was the second one, they had the voice actor Asuna as well. So it was like the perfect blend, and I was like a really, really good. And like Overlord, it was like Christopher Guerrero, and it was like straight Ainz the entire time. Then the voice changes and the tone. I find it interesting.
Yeah, it's just the ratio in these books are naturally there's a lot more women than there are male characters. So it's just I would rather have a woman. Like I have an easier time with a woman talking like a guy versus a guy talking like a woman. Whenever it comes to these, it hurts my immersion a lot less.
Right, and it's also odd to see because for the Saga of Tanya the Evil, the original narrator was I think Monica Rial, the voice actor of Tanya, and now she's no longer the voice actor or the narrator, so it's like a whole new person now. So it's interesting to see if like this may happen because I would imagine it's a pretty big commitment for some of these long ongoing light novels. So who knows if there's frequent changes like that?
Yeah, I always thought they should have reached out to Funimation and stuff whenever like they have a anime coming out with a corresponding light novel, and should have done like get the 2 voice actors and we'll sort of co-create these projects and stuff for like advertising. But oh well.
Right, would have been great.
And after Misaka shocked Toma, she screamed, "Baka!
Baka!
It's not that I love you or anything."
Baka.
Well, the thing that makes it awkward
my
is
take on it.
they raise their voice to try and do like an effeminate voice. So like they'll be talking in their normal voice, and then And then
Oh,
she
okay.
said, "Oh, hi there," and it's just
Yeah, like the Overlord one, I honestly thought it was good, but it was just so funny. You got like this deep Ainz voice, like the deepest, like evil character. It just switches so fast when it goes to Albedo. It's like the
Yeah.
fastest switch up.
Yeah, I guess that would definitely break your immersion into the story. Hearing that.
especially when it gets dramatic. It's like the girl's supposed to be saying her cool lines, but it just sounds like a dude saying their lines. This time we'll protect you, Toma. But yeah, if they did do an indexed audiobook, I'd rather they have have a female voice actress. Well, I guess no. I mean, in perfect world, they would have two voice actors, one to do male and one to do female, especially since the first index novel so heavily Toma's mind. But I really don't want to hear.
I mean, unless you want to hear Stiyl sound like a female, then by all means.
He's got the hair.
Hell
for it.
yeah!
Put him
I mean,
in a
he is a
dress.
tsundere.
But yeah, or what's his teacher's name? I can't believe I forgot her name just now.
Come
Komoe.
Komoe?
Yeah. Komoe's voice being voiced by a dude. Yeah, I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's that abridged series on YouTube where Komoe has like the deepest voice. It's like, Komoe while smoking. Yeah. Let me get another drink. But it's pretty funny, not gonna lie.
Yeah, that was a good series. It only went for like 3 episodes though. Sad.
Rip. We just need a continuous index dub, not a dub, abridged.
Yeah, when are you gonna make?
Sign me on. I want to be part of it.
You got the biggest channel. You got to make it.
Yeah, it's your job.
Yeah,
Were you
but no one.
an accelerator one?
That's an idea.
I thought about making an accelerator one like way before like I started making like videos consistently, but then like that was my scrub dream in a way. I was like, oh yeah, I can make this funny. Well, now that I'm actually uploading content regularly, like I don't want to get nuked by copyright anymore. So I'm like nah. So I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. I mean, I could just I don't know. I could not have like ads on it, which would be fine, but it would be like a lot of effort, and like there is the off chance that the video could just get like completely like blocked, and if that's the case, then that effort would just be for absolutely nothing as well. So yeah, maybe if I did like a second channel where I did it, but then again, it's like it's a lot of effort, getting the different voice actors in, unless I do all the voices, which would be an experience. Script and then edit all together. So that would probably take a while to do. And I mean, there's probably a reason why people haven't done a consistent index dub because, or abridged, I should say. I should stop saying dub, abridged. Because it's a massive project, especially if you're doing multiple episodes.
Yeah.
But one can dream. If anyone does do it, then sign me on. I'll be anything, but I prefer to be Alistair Crowley or Aqua of the Back. So there you go.
Or a horse.
Or a horse, yeah. Or Alex the Horse, hell yeah. Or one of Kamisato's many harem girls. Yeah, I'll do anything.
First, that has to get an anime.
True. It'll be funny to see that animated with Kamisato. But we won't go into that to avoid spoilers.
Anything else?
I don't know. Is there anything else?
Let's see. Did anyone pick up the Railgun 15th merch?
I didn't pick up the merch. I got the special edition of the Mental Out manga.
Okay, yeah.
I got Mental Out, the ebook. Yeah, I think like most of us, like we all got like the volume, which is good. Yeah, support the series if you haven't already. No excuses. Go on Japanese websites or Buyee or Bookwalker. By the way, I'm not sponsored by any of these. I'm doing this purely out of my love for the series. So
It's only like $5 for the digital.
Literally,
yeah.
I wipe my ass with that. It costs like £3 in the UK, which is nothing. Like I can buy like
bought it too. Yeah,
a portion of fish and chips costs more than that in the UK. So there you go.
You can skip a meal if it means supporting the series.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can buy like 3 pot noodles of that. So, and I know what I'd rather have.
You're buying cupped ramen. It's probably a week's worth of food, but
you can buy the digital one on Bookwalker, bookwalker.jp, I think. And yeah, just type in
any version of Bookwalker.
Yeah, just type in the Japanese for Mental Out, and then you can buy it there. And yeah, that helps support the series and make sure Mental Out continues, because we are getting some spice in Mental Out. Like Mental Out looks promising, so I do recommend doing that, because they, the Railgun editor and Noggy and everyone involved have said we need sales to keep us going, and I want to know what Shadow Metal is. And I want to know what that cube Sharingan bullshit is. So I want to know about level 5. So I want to know all these answers. So support the series, please.
How do you think it performed in sales? Mental Out.
I mean, we don't know yet, but I mean, the special edition sold out for a bit.
If I had to guess, pretty well, because the special edition sold out twice. Like it got it sold out, restocked, and I think it's back in stock right now. But it seems like, especially through Amazon too, there's like a few other sites. It was on a few Japanese sites like Melon Books, Rakuten, Yahoo Shopping, stuff like that. And it's all been like pretty consistently in terms of like unable to buy it. So
how many reviews has it gotten? I'm wondering. Wait, let me see on Amazon.
Oh, that's actually pretty interesting.
I'm gonna mute for a second. Am I clacking?
You checking on the Japanese Amazon?
Yeah, I am.
I remember there being some good reviews about it.
Yeah, I think it does end on the level 5 cliffhanger, so that's a good way to end the volume. Keeps you interested to find out what happens next.
That was a good play for them.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that this could be the year of Shokuho?
I don't know if that year's already happened or not.
I mean, it's just I mean, in the fan art community that I've seen, I do see quite a lot. I've seen a lot more Shokuho than Mikoto lately, so it left me thinking: could this be that year?
Where Shokuho overtakes Mikoto in popularity? Nah.
Oh yeah.
Happening.
I feel like I've definitely seen a lot more of Shokuho as of late than even for the anniversary. I saw so much more Shokuho fan art than I saw of Misaka, which may have partly have been because of the first volume of the Mental Out manga. But I feel like, so with Haimura's last picture, like he did the bunny girl pictures of Shokuho, Misaka, and Kuroko, and the one that got the most retweets and likes was the Shokuho one, not even Misaka.
Oh, damn.
Like, I think she had like 10K less than Shokuho.
Oh.
Maybe Styl's right.
It's got 92 reviews on Amazon right now with 4.5 stars.
Although I would have thought that, the year that New Testament 11 came out would have been the year Shokuho, but I was around back there. For comparison's
sake, the new volume of Railgun's got 177 reviews, which seems like a really big difference, but knowing how big Railgun is, like the manga is in Japan, where it's sort of it sells, I think, similarly, like its sales compare more to like Shonen Jump manga sales versus most other series, like light novels or manga adaptions. So I think 92 is actually a really strong number for Mental Out.
Yeah, it's honestly not bad. It's not including like all the other sites and Bookwalker. I'd imagine it probably sold more on Bookwalker because surprising, well, in the U.S. market, just in general, ebooks are doing really, really well, like better than ever. So I would imagine the digital market's pretty strong.
Yeah, especially I think in Japan as it becomes like more condensed there. With how big Rail or Toaru is as a series, it really makes the most sense, like from a Japanese perspective, where their living spaces tend to be a lot smaller and whatnot. It makes sense that you would probably start seeing them shift towards digital sales versus physical. Just because there's 100. I mean, actually, with Railgun or all of Toaru, if you were to buy all the physical everything, it'd probably be well over 100 books you'd have to own. So I think it's really hard to say because a lot of the sales I imagine are digital.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna buy like digital from now on because, like, sometimes I'll get physical if I really want to, but I just keep moving and stuff, and don't really have like a permanent place in a way where I'm like, oh, okay, I can just put all my books here because I just know I'm just going to be moving, so I'll be like having to move them out, and the setup will be pointless in a way. So yeah, I think for people who have a limited amount of space, I think it's ideal.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, I feel more joy when I have the physical copy of of any volume, and I know things are going towards more digital nowadays, but I'm old school. I want to have it owned in my hands, in my filthy hands. Just
Same.
It's there.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I respect the digital market and understand it's like really big. Like, like digital for some print light novels do better. So like, but I'm more of a physical person. I like flipping the pages, like holding it.
It's just like you. It's just like you own this. No one else does.
I mean, there's a whole debate about digital ownership. Like, do you even really own it a lot of the time is the real question. Because they can
like that.
take away
your ability. It's not that NFT or whatever it's called nowadays that they're saying that, you only own the only copy of it, but only if you put an NFT on it.
Yeah, the whole thing with like NFTs, I think what specifically makes it like that you own the only thing is you're more so buying the code connected to it. It's sort of like I imagine buying like a Pokemon, like a rare Pokemon card or something. Like, yeah, anybody can reprint and make it look official, but what makes it official is the fact it's on that specific piece of cardboard. And I think it's just sort of a digital version of that.
Yeah, it's like NFTs is a word I do not know. I just know like, oh, you own the URL, not the actual image or something like that.
Yeah. There's something like you it's more like with how the blockchain stuff works. I've got a buddy who like does a lot of stuff with cryptocurrency and NFTs and stuff. And it's sort of a lot of the big thing with like that area is that you're able to create a digital contract that's like you can't really breach it. And the idea is that you're licensing out the image. Like you're buying the license to use that image. So like those ugly apes, the ape yacht club that everyone spreads around. With those, whenever you buy it digitally, like yeah, anybody can copy the JPEG, but you own or you get the ability to license that character and do whatever you want. So you can, I don't know why you would want to do it with those characters, but you do get the right to, create a really bad cartoon about them or put them on merch, which I don't think with the apes, it's not great. But I think if you had like a really good artist, you could approach licensing it out with actually cool looking art.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
I was sad when no one wanted to buy my Biagio NFT.
Oh,
Correct. Big sad moment.
I can't wait for them to announce that New Testament anime is going to be locked behind NFT sales.
Oh no. Just get Uehara to hack it.
You can't hack the blockchain.
Nah, that's what you think. But Uehara can hack anything, even aim jammers, you see.
Oh yeah, she hacked reality.
Yeah.
Yep.
She can hack anything when the plot demands it.
Yeah.
Like, you put a black hole in front of her, she'll be like, "Yeah, I can hack this, no problem."
But
So, what's new?
I don't really know if there's anything else Railgun that we haven't spoken of yet, is there?
I don't know. Was there anything else announced?
Well, let's see. Outside of Railgun, could you imagine that another light novel series got confirmed for 2 seasons at the same time?
Oh yeah, that's a good point actually. Classroom of the Elite. Yeah. And I tweeted about it saying Index could never.
Wait, did they announce another anime for Classroom of the Elite?
They announced season 2 and 3.
What?
Oh.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Pretty similar to the Shield Hero situation where they announced season 2 and 3 at the same time.
Man. Well, with how popular the light novels are for that series as of late, ever since the first season aired, I'm not surprised. I was shocked they took this long to do season 2 because season 1 was really good. And then I saw the novel sales just exploded after that. So I don't know. I'm pretty excited now.
Honestly,
But
I've never watched it.
Yeah, it's also a lot cheaper though because it's 12 season episodes, whereas Index sort of already set a standard that it's going to be 24 to 26 episode seasons. So I understand why it's easier to announce that than a new season of Index because 2 seasons of that show equals 1 season of Index. But
Yeah, so season 2's airing this year, I think, and then season 3 next year.
Yep.
I can't remember. Well, it's one year after the other.
It's also interesting that Spice and Wolf is getting another anime adaptation, but
Oh,
it's
what?
seeming like it's not a season 3. It seems like it's like a reboot in a way. The way
not
it was
gonna follow
worded.
the daughter.
No, it's not gonna do Wolf and Parchment yet, since there's more light novel to adapt. But it's quite interesting. The way it seemed, it might be a reboot from the start of season 1. Who knows?
Well, that'll be when did season 1 originally air? That's back early 2000s, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think like 2000 and had to
Wasn't
be a
it
while ago.
2000?
I think even
Wasn't
before
it 2000?
Index season 1.
Wasn't it not
I think
2012?
Was it?
9. That's it.
What was it? I don't know.
Use Google.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was 2008. So it's like 2
Okay, so-
years,
Wow.
like 2 years after the light novel originally came out.
Yeah, I think Shakugan no Shana's first season aired around then too, and Toradora. Yeah, they went crazy with those early light novel adaptations that year.
I did watch season 1 of Classroom of the Elite. I thought it was entertaining. I heard that it changed a lot from what happens in the novel. A few people got annoyed about that, but yeah, I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was anything spectacular. I thought it was an entertaining show. Like, I did enjoy watching it, but yeah, I thought it was nothing too special.
Yeah,
I saw people complaining.
Yeah, I like the anime, and I was buying the light novels, and then that whole thing happened with Seven Seas, where they were censoring or removing parts of some of their light novels. And one of them was some of their Classroom of the Elite novels, and ever since that happened, I've sort of been like, I don't really want to buy the novels now because I'm not getting the original. I'm not getting it like in this untainted version of it. It's a whole weird thing.
Yeah, with that 7C situation, I know Mashiko Tensei was pretty involved with that.
Yeah, that was the big one that sort of opened up the floodgates.
I think it's been resolved now because like there was so much community feedback, but I'd imagine there had to be some behind the scenes thought to it that everyone doesn't know.
I mean, from what I understand, it was because they were afraid it would be too much for a Western audience, because the scene they censored in Mishukyo, however you pronounce it, it was a very he's like what was it? He was sort of like sexually assaulting her in her sleep or something.
Yeah.
And they changed it to him tucking her in, and it was like that was like a 4Kids tears change. And then they changed some of the dialogue to be a bit more, or I think what the Classroom of the Elite stuff was is they changed some of the dialogue to be more inclusive, which I feel like in a series where it's meant to be sort of philosophically challenging at points, like in the very first novel, like in the first couple pages, he's talking about like, yeah, men and women can't really be equal because we're different. And it seems so weird to just censor and change a lot of that, because it sort of changes the messaging of the novels and like sort of that desire to challenge the readers. It's just so strange. I'm not a fan, not a big fan of that.
Yeah.
What else do we have on the to talk about here, Alistair?
I don't know.
That rum kicking it?
Huh?
The rum kicking it?
Yeah, I think so. Where am I again? No, just kidding. Styl's laughing because he can relate to this.
Yeah, no, I'm having a bit of an effect over here, guys. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, you are literally Star Magnus because you have been vaping away. Like, are you just trying to like copy Style? See what I did there? Style.
You're funny. You're so funny.
You
am the modern.
Every time you hit the vape.
I am the modern version of Star Magnus. I no longer smoke cigarettes. I just vape now.
Yeah, but have you summoned Innocentius yet?
Ooh, I've not had any reasons to send him out yet. Not yet. Give me some time. He will come
but you
eventually.
be careful not to burn your house down.
No. I'm not insured yet.
But yeah, I did make a announcement earlier on Twitter. Speaking of all things British, I will be going to a convention this year. Finally, woo!
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I'm going to SCM London, so I think that's the biggest con in the UK.
It is actually.
Yeah.
This was the year.
Yeah. I think I will. As long as I can get a decent camera, because I don't want the quality to be shite. But yeah,
there's no way I'm shaving my beard off. By the way, I'm just gonna portray a old version of Style, or what he should have looked like.
You gonna dye it red?
was that?
Oh yeah, you're gonna
You
get red hair.
Oh no, I'm just gonna get a wig.
Oh yeah, fair.
Beautiful.
I'm
Yeah.
lucky that Aqua has brown hair, so.
Are
I
you
have
gonna
brown hair.
shave for Aqua?
I really hate fucking shaving.
Yeah, but
I love my.
you gotta represent.
Yeah, but I mean, you can if you go on my Twitter, you can see like my face on my beard in a way, a little bit stubble, or whatever. But like, I look like a 16-year-old without my beard. I look super young. I don't know if I do now because I haven't shaved in like 2 years or more, like a long ass time. Probably the last time I cosplayed, to be fair. So that's the main reason why I don't shave, because I like my beard and I like the style, but style. That was unintentional, by the way. But yeah, I don't want to. I don't know, probably not. I also wanted to bring Ascalon, the sword, but like I'm just gonna be getting like train and stuff, and I'd just be like walking around with Ascalon like all the way back. So I'm not sure if I can. I'm just gonna be carrying around Ascalon all day, like when I'm trying to record, if I'm recording, and like. So I don't know if I'll bring the sword. I'll have to think about it, but it'd be a pain if I brought it.
Good
So it'd be
chance
like
somebody will
a lot more
take a
effort. But
post you. on-
yeah, more people take pictures of me, but it's like pain. I'm walking around with this fucking sword everywhere, and like when I'm getting back as well, like. Also, I don't know where I'd put it because I literally don't have it in the current place I'm staying at, but I'm going back to my original home in May. That's when the con's on, by the way. So I'm going from my original home all the way to London. So I'd have to take the sword all the way there and then find a place to put it in my new residence, which is in a different place. So it's like so much effort to take this sword like across the fucking country, and I'm like, bruh, is it worth it?
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a lot easier if I had a car and I could just whack it in there, but nah. Plus, even if I did have a car, like driving through London is literal hell. Like, no one wants to do that unless you like paying a lot of taxes and you like being stuck in traffic for hours. But go ahead, you can drive through London. One does not simply drive through London. But yeah, rant over.
One can only commute.
Pretty much, like the underground in London is such a godsend. It's way more convenient and a lot cheaper because you just get fucked by the taxes, the tolls they call them. Like, there's certain areas in London where if you drive into it, you have to pay some money to get through. Yes, there's quite a few places like that. Yeah, and plus you have all the traffic to deal with as well. Like, so it's like the double fuck you.
And y'all also pay a good amount for gas too, don't you? That's pretty heavily taxed, isn't it?
Yeah, especially now with the current politics going on in the world.
Oh boy.
Let me just say, I was very worried whenever it started because I know how the index fandom is when they hear World War III. I was like, okay, guys, I'm gonna trust y'all. Don't be cringe on social media talking about about your anime during World War III.
Yeah, I mean, I'll hold my hands up. Like, I did like make a joke about it, but before the event actually happened, it was like a week or two ago. I saw it like trending on Twitter, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll make a joke about it." But now that it is actually happening, this event, and you all know what it is, yeah, I'm not going anywhere near that. Like, so, but I will hold my hands up. I did do that before, but obviously, no intention of doing that during it at all, or ever in the foreseeable future.
I was gonna make a joke, not about like specifically World War III, but I was thinking of like posting like a fake article headline, more so making fun of sort of how extreme some of the cancellations are regarding it. Just to say like Kazuma Kamachi decides to retcon Russia out of World War III. Because like some of the stuff's pretty insane. Like they banned Russian-bred cats from cat shows.
What?
Yeah, yeah. just like anything with the word like Russia related. There's one restaurant called the Russian House. It's like, Russian food. And they covered up the Russian part, so now it's just called House. It's just some of the cancellations are so extreme. It's almost parody.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy what the world's gone into. I just hope it's all resolved in the end. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, hey, at least we don't want to talk about politics too much because obviously we are an index podcast. But I mean, it's obviously hell yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's hard not to talk about it at times. Like I know it's affecting a lot of people in the world. But yeah, just our thoughts and prayers go out for the people who are struggling at the moment.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, definitely just keeping up with like YouTube and stuff, and just hopefully cheering people up best we can in a way.
It's nice to have an escape.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, people like to escape from like real world in Index, even though Index and many other stories, even Star Wars has like politics in it and wars and stuff. But obviously, that's just still an escapism in a way. But it is like warn you of potentially what could happen in the real world with the Empire and everything, and it's similar to Index in a way with religious extremism and all that fun stuff.
Kamachi does politics. He just doesn't relate them to the real world quite so
the same.
obviously.
Yeah.
No, he does. He does it very subtly. He's just like to put little nitbits in here and there, and not actually try to refer it, but sort of does in a sense.
He doesn't do what's the current popular political take. So now I'll write my book about that. It's sort of a very more broad examination.
Oh,
I think that's the best way to do it as well. Oh, go on.
A theory just came into my head. So, do you remember that girl from the latest Railgun chapters who can manipulate people's fats and whatnot?
Yeah. What about her?
Do you guys think that she was the cause to make Shokoho's breasts bigger?
Bruh. That's what I was thinking, because I thought that as well. Because like people have wondered that, like, how did obviously this is the most important mystery in the franchise, more important than the dragons and the invisible thing. Like,
where'd the boobs come from?
Yeah, exactly. How did all right, okay. We all know. During that time in one's life, you go through physical changes. I mean, we can't hide from that. But how does such growth occur within a short amount of time? Like, there must be some factor which came into this. So yeah, and she's literally Mickey. I think she's called Mikigami, and then she said, "Oh yeah, people are approaching me because they want to look a certain way because you can, she can control the fat of people she touches and stuff." So yeah, so I think you're right, Stiyl.
My canon has always sort of been because Toma's ideal type was the dorm manager One-san. So like a very mature body. My head canon had always been that since her ability works on manipulating the chemicals in the brain, that she just used it to adjust her own to accelerate the development of her body to sort of match that ideal. So that was always my headcanon, but now that you've thrown this idea out there, that could change.
But it would make sense to us to why that particular area has grown. Maybe she found out that what Toma actually really liked, and she's like, "Wait a minute, I have an idea. I know this girl from somewhere."
That particular area.
She's the true boss.
What do you think, Toonie? Do you have a mad lad theory about the asset?
Is this gonna go back to the railgun thing where everything needs a backstory?
Oh yeah, true. Oh my God, I didn't notice that too. I mean, I can forgive this because people have wondered for a long time, like, and it's important, right? It's plot in a way.
Yeah, two very big pieces of plot.
Yeah,
People need the answers.
yeah, we can brush this aside. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if this is a scientific world, I want a scientific explanation as to why this has happened.
Yeah, I agree. I concur. But we will have to wait and see. I mean, it is covering that period where that physical change should occur, so I think connecting the dots is natural. I don't know.
I mean, it's a mystery that even Komachi's made a joke about, so why not?
Yeah, and now that we're getting the answers to Shadow Metal, we need to find out the answers to all the biggest mysteries in the series, surely. But will we ever find out about the dragons? Like, I feel like the trend in the novels is like whenever we find out something new in terms of that, you would get like even more questions.
We've learned more about the dragons in Railgun than we have in Index.
Yeah.
I
mean, at least we know about Magic Breaker to an extent. So
yeah,
that's plus. But it's just the dragons and what's inside. It's like, ooh.
Yeah.
But yeah. Fingers crossed, Komachi, like you just can't keep doing this forever. Like you have to give us an answer.
Like, there's going to be a breaking point where he's just going to explain everything for everybody.
Yeah, I just don't know when that's going to be. Like, is that going to be? I wouldn't like that to be the final volume of the series. Because I'd be like, we waited so long. It's just suddenly dropped upon us, and it's just like, oh, it's over now.
It's just like 40 years waiting for answers, and now all of a sudden we have all the answers now.
Yeah, I'd like it midway through GT if I be honest, so that way it can be like, okay, now we know what it is. Now we can like explore that a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we do know what it is, for like a final arc or something, I don't know.
Because I feel like if Genesis Testament is this series, I feel like he would end on Revelation Testament or something.
Oh, man, but Genesis is the first book of the Bible, and then you got to go through all the other books, so it's going to be forever.
Can't wait for Job Testament and
John Testament.
John Testament.
Mark Testament.
Matthew Testament. Luke Testament. Roman Testament.
Could you imagine?
Sort of Exodus Testament will be.
Yeah, literally. If the next series after this is Exodus Testament, we'd be like, "Oh boy, we're in for a long run." Reading Index to 80. Let's go.
I have to teach my kids to continue reading the series for me after I'm gone.
The thing is, we get all the way to Revelation Testament, and the characters wouldn't even like age by like 1 year.
Yeah. Revelation's Testament. It's like on Toma's 16th birthday.
All right. Do we want to go to the Q&A segment?
Yeah. I don't think we have to.
Okay, so we have finally arrived at the Q&A segment. So if you want to ask any questions, then send them into the chat. Or you can send them into my Twitter, but I don't know why you do that because you're clearly watching this or listening to this on YouTube. But yeah, just send them in the chat and I will send a message out to the Twitter so more people can chip in if they are somehow not watching the podcast, which is be a bit strange, but we'll do it anyway. Let's just type this, blah, blah, blah. In the meantime, you can chat about anything you like while I type this. Send in questions for the podcast here! Exclamation marks to grab attention. I know someone already sent some questions in early because he was so eager that he sent them right at the start of the stream. But we'll just wait and let the dust settle. Oh, someone's even tagged me in Kamachi Land just now. All of this good stuff's happening.
Oh,
Oh, they said they liked my philosophy of office arc video, and it's Mikhail. Thank you.
I have to recommend. I'll have to recommend Aaron's Judge reference video, which is very entertaining.
Wait, which video?
You made a JoJo reference.
Oh yeah.
That was quite entertaining.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, although I didn't like cover all of them, like, so I forgot like some of them. But I was like in the comments, if I missed any, you can let me know. But I did, so that was good. Also, we got a super chat from Ben Misaka. Thank you very much for the super chat. Very kind. Should the Index reboot have the Zack Snyder treatment, style, and awesome action over substance, like ZSJL? Oh, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Okay, yeah, I know what you mean by that. Although I didn't see the Snyder Cut or the original actually. I did watch Batman v Superman, no. That was funny.
I watched little clips of the Snyder Cut, and I thought, wow, this is actually really incredible.
You got
so you
the Snyder.
No, I've not watched the entire movie. I'm gonna wait until I buy the actual film itself. But I did watch a clip of it, and I thought, wow, this is actually really incredible to what the original film was.
Yeah.
okay.
The original or the reboot? What is it? I guess
Reboot.
Is it a reboot? Is it canon or is it just sort of?
It's sort of like it's sort of basically. I don't know who made this decision, but one of them wanted to have one part of the film cut out, and then Zack Snyder was like, "Well, hang on a minute, this would have been actually a bit more better." But they just, so that's why Zack Snyder's cut came out, and it's just become even more better than what it was, and it would explain a lot more.
Yeah, it was definitely better than the original Justice League. I still don't think it was like that good of a film, but it like in comparison to the original one, it's a whole lot better. Like I at least felt some enjoyment watching it. It filled in some of the plot holes from the first one. Like explaining that they burned the bodies in order to hide the fact that the people they said Superman murdered had a bunch of bullet holes in them.
Yeah, because Superman uses a gun, right?
Yeah. Well, no.
Just like Batman in the films. Batman apparently uses guns. Thanks, Zack Snyder.
Sometimes you got to be careful with Zack Snyder. I remember whenever he was talking about how he would have done Batman, the Dark Knight Rises, and he was like, "Yeah, if I wrote it in the jail scene, I would have had Batman get raped because it's darker and would be like no joke." He said he would have had Batman get raped in prison. So you got to be careful with Zack Snyder because sometimes he does dark.
Surely he was joking.
He just says dark stuff and doesn't understand why. Like sometimes it's not necessary just to be dark for the sake of being dark. But yeah,
yeah, let's answer the question. Should the Index reboot have this treatment?
I agree absolutely especially with Index 3. Like Zack Snyder should pick his hands through that series and just tweak it a bit and make it a bit more better. I totally agree with that. Like it would have been. I mean, visually it would look more insane. I don't know about the voice acting with the rest of you, but I think it could have been more insane because I remember reading Old Testament and reading this World War III and everything and Battle Royale. It was so cool, but then seeing it in the anime version, it was just such a meh. But I agree.
Yeah, Zack Snyder can do one thing: it's action.
I don't know, because wouldn't he just like gloss over like the important details? I don't know.
I mean, he'd make it a lot darker.
Yeah, I mean that could work for like the Battle Royale and Dragon Arc. But does Index? Well, Index can be dark, but it doesn't need to be dark all the time. Like it can be, fun.
It's dark with a purpose.
Yeah.
With the exception that there's an accelerator anime adaptation on the way, if there is one. Pray to God. That would be very cool.
Yeah. Kamachi doesn't just do dark for the sake of being dark. He's not gonna hopefully he doesn't just throw a character in prison and have him get raped. But Zack Snyder treatment specifically, I probably wouldn't like with Index, but I would like. Part of me would like a reboot, but at the same time, it's just so much content to cover.
Cool. Right. We will. Oh, there we go. We will go over to Twitter where that early bird sent in quite a few questions, but we will answer one or two of them to make things fair. Because if you send us like 4 or 5 questions on your own, that's a bit cheeky, isn't it? Think we'll answer 6 questions in a row.
None there.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. There's other people out there, but I respect being early, so we'll answer 2. We'll answer the first 2. Since a lot of anime are returning from the dead for a second, third season, what? Okay, they missed is what is something you guys wish to see come back? There we go.
That's good.
My all-time favorite anime is one called Irresponsible Captain Tyler.
Yes, we know. Well,
it was in the 90s. Is whenever it came out. And then it sort of got a new season called Banjo Tyler, like so many years, like less than 10 years ago. And out of nowhere. And it was absolutely terrible. It was all It was all gimmick marketing for some small idol group. No one liked it. It was terrible. I hated it, but I want Irresponsible Captain Tyler season 2. That's what I've always wanted because the books went on for much longer than the anime did.
Let's see. If I had to answer that, I would probably want something regarding Type Moon. So it's like the Fate series. Since we finished the trilogy of the Heaven's Feel movies, I would like to tackle the next visual novel, which is Hollow Ataraxia. It might be hard to adapt since it's like a pretty different visual novel and it doesn't have routes. I think that'd be pretty interesting, or just something Type Moon in general, like Tsukihime, would be pretty good.
I would have to go with I would have to go with Lucky Star. I would say Lucky Star.
Wow, you're so cultured.
No, it's just that it was such a heartwarming anime during for me at the time. I wanted to see how they would try and do it in this time of age. I would just love to see that if they would ever do. Absolutely.
Cool. Okay, for me, well, my 2 favorite anime of all time are Gungrave and Welcome to the NHK. So, I mean, they both ended like really well. The endings for both, I think, are perfect. But I think NHK is in an okay place as it is because it doesn't require a lot of good animation to tell a story. But Gungrave, I'd like to see Gungrave with like updated animation. So I'd like a reboot of Gungrave, but tell pretty much the exact same story as the original did back in 2003. But maybe you can like change a few bits about it, like get rid of like some of the the more absurd elements of it, because some of it is a bit ridiculous at times. But overall, it's just such a great series, and the animation isn't as good as it was back then. Like, it hasn't aged very well. So I'd like to see like Gungrave with like mind-blowing action scenes. Like, that'd be, I would. My fanboy moment would just be like crazy. Like, I just get so excited of that. So that's what I like to do. Oh, by the way, the person who asked the question is Maurizio, and he also asked, any video games you're excited for 2022? I'll answer this pretty quickly. Not really, because I was excited for Metroid and Halo, and both of those are out at the moment, so I'm fine for now.
I'm pretty excited for Soul Hackers 2, because I'm a big Shin Megami Tensei fan, and it's such an unexpected sequel from that studio. Though I haven't been a big fan of the last few Shin Megami Tensei games, but I'm hoping this one will turn things around.
Let's see. If I had to say, I'm pretty excited for I don't even know what's coming out this year, but the Riot Games fighting game. I think looks pretty exciting. And then also, it's a visual novel made by Key, like people who do like Clanad, Angel Beat, stuff like that. They're making a new visual novel called Loopers, and it's getting a English release in like 3 months. So I'm pretty excited for that.
I'm looking forward to getting when it comes out, God of War Ragnarok. Because it will give me an excuse. I mean, partially it might do. I don't know, but when God of War Ragnarok comes out, I would want to preferably play it onto the PS5. I've loved God of War. I've loved God of War ever since it came out. I've enjoyed that series completely. It's just incredible. But when Ragnarok comes out, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. I'm all down for it.
Nice.
Cool. Okay, on to the next question from the Nan or the Nane. I don't know which one, but it's one or the other, I assume. What do you... Is it the Nan?
I know, I just said your Nan.
Oh, your Nan. Oh, I thought it's your Nan, innit? British culture in a nutshell. Sorry about that. What do you think will happen when the next manga will finish adapting The Will of Free? Do you think it will go into New Testament territory or just end it there? I mean, if it follows on from the trend, I assume it'll start a new manga because, like, otherwise it'll go on like for a long time. Like, what do you guys think?
I don't think it's gonna go into NT. It's what how many years is the index? Almost by the time it's done, it'll be like 20 years old itself, the index manga, at the rate it's been going. So I really can't imagine them going almost another 20 years just to adapt NT, only to then stop before GT.
I'd imagine if they were to pick up the pace, there's a few series like Don Machi and Sword Art Online Progressive that have basically there's two ongoing series for the story. So there's like, for example, Progressive, there's two ongoing manga for Progressive that's adapting the light novels. So like one's adapting like 4 or 5 and one's adapting 4 or 6, and they're still releasing at the same time. And it basically speeds up the story a bit. And same for Don Machi, like part 2 was releasing in the manga, and then there's another one. So I feel like if something happened in that case, then sure. But thinking how long it would take probably would not work out. It would just take way too long. And just in general, the way how these manga work, especially since it's monthly, it's just gonna be super long. And by the time World War III does end in the manga, like who knows? New Testament anime is probably already happening, so they might just try to make it go coexist with the anime. But then again, that's such a long task.
I have to agree with Tony because it's right. I personally think they will continue with the index manga regardless of how long, like how the novels are went, or if there's another anime coming out, they'll still produce more chapters for the index manga. I'm personally, if they even do New Testament for the manga, I'll be interested to see it because the way how they do it and how they visually draw it all and everything is just brilliant. So personally, I think they would, considering how long it has been since they are only just now starting to catch up with I believe with World War III at the moment. So I think they would. I think they'll definitely will go into the New Testament territory and just continue on from not just make a new title, but continue from the like the original name of the manga and just carry on with the chapters from there on.
Mhm.
And
Like a thought to that.
Mm.
You could go.
Yeah, because I remember when Aaron finally persuaded me to read Night Novels, which I did eventually, and then when I went back to the Index manga, they hadn't caught up at that time yet. So I was like, oh, okay, it's been quite a long gap for them to catch up, but they haven't yet. But they would. I think they would still continue, regardless with how many years it's been now. And if they do, and I hope they do, that'll be brilliant. I would love to see it in a manga format and see how these people imagine it. It'll be incredible. Because with how it's just with how they've drawn it and with how visually it looks, it's incredible, hands down.
I could see them adapting the final arc if they don't do New Testament. That's something I've seen some series do, where they're like, if it's a really long running series, they'll suddenly jump to the end on the manga adaptation, and skip most of the novels. But yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if we got New Testament. It's just I'll be dead by the time they finish it.
Like I imagine that. So I would assume, like, imagine, like, we get like a New Testament anime. The manga finishes Old Testament, goes into New Testament. Then Railgun story arcs go into New Testament. Like, I can imagine there's a standpoint where everything out of like 2 hour series out of the Old Testament timeline is kind of all goes into New Testament with anime, manga, and Railgun story arc. That's a stuff to think about.
You think Railgun will go into New Testament? I don't think it will.
I personally
No,
don't think, but I'd imagine if there's like, I just imagine it would be a greater thought if the anime and manga are both out of Old Testament in a way.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the only way I would personally.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on. Yo, we got Toaru Emerald in the chat. Let's go.
Yo.
We're missing you, Emerald. You'll be on in the future, I'm sure.
I need to speak to Emerald.
Emerald is a sound guy. You'll like him. He is.
There's so many
chat.
people I wish to speak and meet. Malcolm and Tony has just been. I have to say to you guys, it's been a privilege to finally speak to you guys. There's so many more I can't wait to actually, voice chat with.
Yeah, it's cool
Can't
meeting you.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey. Anyway, let's address his question. In your opinion, which arc in Index doesn't get the credit you believe it deserves? I will go first. So everyone knows I am an advocate of New Testament 12, which is the Saint Germain or Dianode arc. I don't know the official name of it. But yeah, that one, I feel like that hasn't got the respect it's been due over the years. But controversially, I will also say the Ice Boats arc, because everyone shits on that arc. So Old Testament 11. But I see its greater purpose in the narrative of Index. Like, I appreciate it for what it is. I know it's not the best arc by any stretch, but I don't believe it deserves to be obliterated, and give Biagio some love, because he's such a babe. He's beautiful.
I probably Baggage City for me. I really liked the Baggage City arc, and I feel like it either people say they didn't like it or they don't remember it at all. There's really just not a lot of talk around Baggage City in general. And I guess in hindsight, it's probably because it came out before the English fandom really formed up. But that one's one I really liked. I really liked how they introduced all the Kiharas and had the Othinus appearance, and I liked sort of the dynamic and everything set up for Baggage City. And it's just one I've always felt like was slept on.
Yeah, I think with both what with Baggage City and the St. German one, they are the two that I can just barely remember. They don't really get much credit from it, and I remember at one point where I had to go revisit St. German just to remember what actually happened. But I think those two arcs are definitely the most one that do not get the most credit out of it, which ideally they really should do, because I mean, you got St. German who says that she knows what happened to Toma, and then you got Baggage City that just turned into just a massacre of a crazy battlefront. Two of these things that I think really should have been more notable, more credited in a way, in a sense, because it's because I remember in Baggage City it was Baggage City. Am I saying correctly?
Careful of spoilers, by the way.
What?
I said careful of spoilers, by the way.
Oh,
Spoilers. There is actually, everyone's right. There is a big spoiler at the end of it, which I think was incredible, but it's not really talked about much even today.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, when the big reveal comes out, and I won't say no more. I highly recommend everybody read it. It's incredible. It is the most incredible arc I've read, but it was just forgotten since then.
Yeah. It was funny because at the time, the small English fandom that existed when GT2 was getting or GT4 was getting translated, or NT4, oh my gosh, was getting translated, like everyone was like, oh gosh, we're actually getting a tournament arc in Index, just from how they had set it up, and then Kamachi naturally messed with your expectations, which was it was cool. It's really cool at the time.
Let's see. If I had to say, I feel like my answer is quite different. So, like my friend group, let's say we all watch, like we're all pretty much anime only, but we have one friend that reads the manga for like everything, and then watches the anime adaptations. That, let's like say, like they watch World War III, for example, since it's not fully complete in the manga, and there's some missing scans in the index manga, so they just watch the anime for that part. And so they read the manga for like 3 stories arc, and wasn't a fan at all. And we was all surprised because, like, honestly, personally, quite enjoy it as like the anime part. And so then I ended up reading the manga for 3 stories. I thought, okay, no, this is pretty good as well. So, and then my other friend was like, oh, I didn't think it was good at all. Like, wait, this is like the complete opinion I normally do not hear. So it's great. So it's kind of interesting to see how they experience it in a different medium and the way they think. So if I had to say 3 stories arc for that sole reason.
Okay, interesting. I sort of remember the manga one being different. I just don't remember how it was different.
It's like, this is a bit ago, so I can't really pinpoint everything, but it was like slight different, but it's still like good enough to understand it. It's hard to say in a way.
All right.
Cool. Next, we have Green Gogeta. Gogeta! To my dudes in the podcast, you lads think Toma deserves someone better than Index. Oh, get out. Get out now. Get what you doing here. We got Index stands here. We stand alone here. No, just kidding. Like, no, to be fair, you gotta take into account Index's person. Like, she's had her memories erased. Like, imagine if you had your memories erased. Like, you basically just turn into a baby, right? And that's kind of how Index acts. Like, you can't judge like Index's like emotional immaturity or lack of social understanding cues. Yeah, I mean, come on, she's literally had a memory erased every year of her life up until Toma saved her ass. So, cut her some respect. Like, she deserves better than that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really interested a lot of the. I think Index gets a lot more hate than she really deserves. And a lot of the people who hate her, like their ideas of what they would do with her, tend to be really bad. I've seen some really like bad takes regarding how people would write instead, but I think Index is a really fine character. If you really take into account everything, like she's really mentally like a little over 1 year old, and she gets her experiences erased year after year after year. So the idea, like, she's constantly running. She's been running for the entire life she knew. She was running away, and now she like has a home. It's sort of like this character arc that I really like, and I think also Toma's own memory losses are meant to be reflected through her, as like sort of two sides of a coin. But I think some people focus too heavily on the gags with her. Like, they get really mad about the biting and like how she eats so much and makes Toma poor. Which it really comes off more as like it's a gag and not really like a character flaw to get mad at. And that's my general take. Is I think people really hyper focus on some of these things in order to hate on her.
Yeah, like if Index was in a different setting, not from Toma's apartment, but if she was with Kanzaki and Stiyl most of the time, she'll probably regain what she had lost and become the person who she used to be. And I think what Malcolm said is correct. There is too much hate on Index, like with all these gags and whatnot. I think you need to look at it in another way. Like, her memory does get erased every once a year. That I and myself and Kanzaki have to do every year.
Wow, what a dick style.
I know, right? But yeah, like I think I don't know. I think it's somewhat difficult to look past the Index with how she normally is, because you really have to put your mind to it and see, you know, Index is. It's not her fault that she is like this, especially with the plain beef and fish continuously. But you know, it's just. I mean, what can you do?
Yeah.
What can you do?
Yeah, I'd really recommend looking at the manga adaptation of the first arc, because it adds some scenes that are like fairly touching for Index, especially for her past with Stiyl and Kanzaki. But yeah, I feel like a lot of the hate on her is very, very forced. That's my take regarding. I think Toma's happy to have her around.
Yeah, because considering, well, I mean, none of us can really comment. I mean, I suppose we could in a way comment how Toma used to be like before his memory was lost, and with his memory lost now, he's, you know, considering how his character is, he's such a good, you know, he's such a good guy. He wants to help out people as much as he can. That's what he's doing with Index, in a sense. And I don't know.
She sort of ties him to his previous life. I think she acts direct link. And he does the same for her, in a way. So, or he's like the one who gave her life, in a way.
And in a sense, she's. I mean, I don't know about what your opinion is, but I think, in a sense, Index is giving Toma a life in his way as well.
Yeah. So
they're both leaning against each other to progress in their own lives, since now the whole memory loss is all stopped completely, and it's just a build from there on now. But whether or not, it's just whether or not, I don't know, there's just some random magic god that just says, oh, here you go, here's all your memories back, just like with his fingers, and just
I feel like people just try to seem. I just feel like on the outside, like on the very brief outside, people just say, "Oh, annoying gag character," but I feel like around the time when the anime came out, especially you just see her as like a gag character, it don't look too deep into it. It's like on the outside, you're just like a typical, like you just watching it, you just watch season 1 and just moving on with your day, watching a ton of light novel adaptations of anime. You just see, oh, annoying gag character, but definitely like what everyone said, there's a lot of depth into it. like the consistent memory loss and everything like that. I just honestly agree with everyone said, and just on the surface you just see gag annoying, oh this you eating up Toma's money annoying, you just like there, like it's really not like that. And I think it's a good fit for Toma.
Yeah, agreed.
Cool. Okay, we'll answer a few more. Kamijo Medi asked a question, but that would be kind of going to spoiler territory, so I'll skip over that. Sorry, Medi. We don't want to spoil Toonie. But Don, hello Don, asked, who do you guys think is a really underappreciated index character? I mean, there's
Stiyl.
Stiyl is your answer.
I wonder why.
There is a lot. But since you're insistent on answering, Stiyl, I'll let you go ahead.
Like, okay, this is my problem with Index with the entire series. It's just that you introduce so many characters, and like you put them in support roles, but then you realize how incredible, like what they do in their supported role, and you think to yourself, I want to know more about how this person does these things. And I wish that could have been expanded a bit more. Like I know Kanzaki and Stiyl had their own SS novels, which I have yet to read. I know. I'm a Stiyl fan, but I've not really. I'm too busy on New Testament. I'm too busy on New Testament. Like if you guys remember, there was a character who's a bit of a ninja, who wears yellow and black, and she's a bit of a ninja. What's her? Who's? Yeah, I think she's who looks at the Beerus Kihara as a teacher, and I remember
Kumakawa's sister, or well,
yeah, it might have been like
Maria.
yeah, Maria.
Yeah, like there's so many characters, especially like that. I want to know a bit more with how they became how they built up to be as the person that they are to the present day. And it's great that Komachi is, introducing all these characters, but he then just leaves them to the sideline, like the infamous Himigami. What's her last name?
Isa.
Yeah. Like her, for example. Like, I mean, if it's literally just that, then wow. But if there's actually more to it than just her having blood that erases all like vampires if they suck up blood, then But like, I just wish there could be a bit more love to some of the supporting characters, and I feel strongly. This is how I feel strongly with this. I want there to be a bit more love and information with supporting characters, because this Toaru series has just been incredible since I have first come across it, and I think it has the potential to do that. It has the platform to put a bit more information. Like even if you don't put it on a light novel, you can easily just put it on a you could just put it on something on the wiki that people can go out and look out for themselves. But it's just depressing though, because where I'm at the moment with New Testament 21 or 22, you don't really see much of who was previously introduced and not in that volume, because you'd think, well, this character would actually be very useful for this particular situation, or would just be there to help support Toma in his struggles against God knows what is going on, But I just think, well, why do this? This is just. I wish they could do this. Put more love into, put more information about these other characters, because despite what they are doing, that could be small or insignificant, they're still part of a series that a series is so incredible to a lot of people, and my heart is strongly, my heart is strongly with this. I just want so much more information. I'm greedy. I want to know more.
Yeah,
Sorry
fair.
about that
I
one.
mean,
Sorry about that one. It's a complete rant.
it's
Nah.
okay. No worries. I mean, yeah, I get your point. It would nice to have like the lesser characters be fleshed out more, but I like the fact that like Index does get criticism at times for how it treats the characters, but I like the fact that it's unique in the way that each character does have an arc to stand out at least,
Yeah.
and then can actually just focus on expanding the world. So it does give everyone at least one opportunity to shine, and then it prioritizes the world over having a short, like a tiny, consistent cast in a way. But that's fine. I like this unique way of storytelling. I've not really encountered it that much more in other stories on this scale, anyway. But yeah, to answer the question, I think like I said, many characters underrated. Of course, who we were just talking about, Index. Index is an underrated character, in my opinion. I think she deserves more respect. How she's treated like an object, and then slowly starts to become more like a human, and her parallel with Kazakiri, because Kazakiri is kind of a science equivalent of Index in a way. They both treated like inhuman things. Yeah. I also think Sherry Cromwell is very underrated, and I'm literally like the only person who likes her, I think. Like,
Oh no, I
think,
no, I think she's incredible.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I think I think the people who don't like her because she's either boring or I think her character motivation is kind of weird for what she does, because she's basically like going against her own church and trying to start a war, and it's like, oh, why would she want to do that considering her past? It doesn't really add up. But nah, I kind of understand it in a way. I think I like the fact that she's has this really messed up backstory, and then trying to solve everything by herself in a way, even if it means going against her loyalties. But yeah, and Kihara Noken, I could literally go on and on. Kihara Noken is top 10 index characters for me. I think Noken is really, I love Noken so much. His character's grown on me like more in recent years, like best doggo. But
yeah, for me, I agree with you a lot, Stiyl. There's so many characters in this franchise, and I also agree with Alistair in that I like having this many characters, because like the whole thing with Index is like the world building is so big, and like having all of these characters existing as moving parts within it makes it feel so much more real, which is something that you don't really get from many other series unlike Index. But because of that, there's so many of these minor characters, it's so hard to sort of pinpoint which one you would really you think is like underappreciated, because like so many of them are. So like I've been sitting here trying to think of who I think is underappreciated, and it's just like, who isn't underappreciated in this series, who isn't part of the main cast. It's really hard to choose though, because like there's some characters it feels like Kamachi really wants people to appreciate and like Agnese and her group, because he loves to like have her show up, despite like how much at least the Western fan base seems to dislike her. But it's just, I can't really decide. I guess now I just completely forgot his name. Kamisato. I think he's underappreciated in that. I think the direction Kamachi was going with him was really interesting. It was a very interesting take of how a character would view this idea of like amassing a harem and like his powers being more of this object of control, I guess, in a way. Yeah, I think Kamisato is a character that was well written, but the point in which they implemented him and like how they implemented him was what held him back. So just for the sake of decision, I would say Kamisato.
Cool. And I think Toonie is AFK right now.
Yeah, he took a phone.
Yeah, so we'll move on. We'll go to the last question. I know more people asked questions, but just for time purposes, we do not have an infinite amount of time. So Thomas Alvarenga asks, protagonists ranked worst to best, index is free, then Misaka, then Dark Matter Guy, Kakine. Okay. Anyone want to go first, or shall I?
That sounds like a go for it. Sounds dangerous.
Okay. I mean, all right. So we're judging them as protagonists. So this is judging Misaka purely off Railgun.
I guess Misaki would count too, and Junko because they're also.
Oh, right. If we're counting all of them, but you just said yeah, okay. All right, if we're counting all of them, like I love all of them. Like, don't get me wrong. But worst, I probably have to say Junko. I'm sorry, don't kill me, guys, please. I love Junko. I love Junko. I think she's a great character, but she's the weakest out of all of them, and I don't mean that any disrespect to Junko. Junko is great. I love a character. Let me stress that I am a Junko stan. I will defend Junko with my life because she's pure. All right, I sound like a simp. All right, okay, move on. Right, so Junko, then, I mean, purely as a protagonist, probably Kakine. I mean, Kakine's manga was great, Dark Matter manga, but it was too short. Like, that's the only reason why I'd rank Kakine that low. Just need more. So, well, he's a great protagonist in that volume, like, really good again. Like, again, no disrespect. Like, don't kill me in the comments. Like, this is, it has to be ranked somewhere. I mean, all these characters are great. Then, I guess, actually, I'd probably rank Kakine above Shoko, actually, because Shoko has literally only had 6 chapters. So let's rephrase that. So, okay, Junko, Shoko, Kakine.
Are we ranking by specifically their manga or by their characters in general?
I'm just ranking it by their own series because it's ranking them as a protagonist. I'm assuming, unless it's just taking into account these characters are protagonists, but we're ranking them as characters. I don't know. It's I'll just do it this way because I think I'd struggle to rank them as characters. I don't know. But yeah, then probably say Misaka, then Hamazura, then Terma, then Accelerator. But if we're talking about characters, then I'd say Junko's still at the bottom. Sorry, Junko. Then Misaka, then Kakine, then Hamazura, then Shoko, then Terma, then Accelerator. Actually, I don't know. I rank Shoko and Terma the same. But yeah.
Oh, that's cheating.
Something along those lines.
Yeah. So in terms of just their mangas, I would probably Junko at the bottom. I would actually do Misaki above Junko just because like the only thing that's really gotten me into the Mental Out manga so far has been the level 5 or the level 5 number 1 reveal. But other than that, like I haven't been too big into the student council stuff. Then Dark Matter, then Hamazura, then Mikoto, then Accelerator. He loses points because of the Accelerator manga existing, and then Toma. But in terms of characters, Junko at the bottom, then Kakine, then Hamazura, then Mikoto, Misaki, Toma and Accelerator. I feel like Accelerator still sort of stood out as the most well done character in the series in terms of just general writing and consistent.
Alistair.
Not count Protagonist.
Oh, sorry. I got ahead of myself.
No, Alex is at the bottom. He was a terribly written character. Never explained why he's upside down. 0 out of 10.
It is. It's more efficient that way. We don't know how it's more efficient, but it's efficient.
I guess
Stiyl?
Toonie's back yet.
All right, yeah, I'm back. So
Oh.
let's see. Are we doing it based on like protagonists of each series?
Yeah, that's what I was confused about. But yeah,
I just answer it that way then.
Oh.
Let's see. If I had to say, aside the worst one, probably Misaki, since I'm not too attached to her as a protagonist. Then the dark matter guy. Oh, you mean Kaneki from earlier? The joke he said. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like no one got it. No, my joke is ruined. Okay. I'll probably say dark. I'd say dark matter. I honestly enjoyed dark matter a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pretty good, but just wasn't too much to it since it was like so short.
Yeah.
I'd say after that, Junko. I really enjoyed Astro Bunny. I thought Junko was a great character. Then, let's see. I'd probably say Hamazura, Misaka, Accelerator, because Accelerator, manga, and then Toma.
All right.
Yeah, it's kind of weird being able to judge Accelerator either as a protagonist of his own manga or as a protagonist of Index. Because I guess that could lower him down a bit because of the manga.
That's why he lost points on mine.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that, to be fair. Sorry, Stiyl, go on.
I mean, I guess you can go to Accelerator as his standoff 12 episode series that he had. I would have to mark the worst. I'm gonna protect myself as the dark matter guy. I can't pronounce his name correctly, and my apologies, but I would rank him as lowest because, as I said previously, there could be more to it than I think there could have been more. They could have come a bit further back. I would have to my other one would be Junko. She would be my other one. I would have to put Shogaho next because, I mean, again, I'm not really seeing much in her own series as a protagonist because obviously you got Mentor. Obviously, I know, I get that. There's only like 7 chapters already, but I can only go based on what has been presented to everybody. I think that alone hasn't really gotten higher enough in my own ratings. I don't know about everybody else's. Hamazura, he was very surprising. I have to admit, when I was reading the light novels, when I started reading him and what he did with the Mugino, I thought that's actually incredible. So he's there. Did I say Junko already?
I think so.
Oh.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Let me just switch that around a bit. Shukaho, then Junko, then Hamazura, and then Makoto, because purely from the amount of attention that she's had, that not that we've had any choice of who to see. It's just because she's there. Just watch her already. From her 2 seasons or 3 seasons actually, and to her manga, incredible character. And then obviously, I'd have to put Accelerate at the second, and then Toma at the first, because Toma, and I still remember this volume into my head, and even Alistair did a video of it. It bothers me. I believe it was New Testament 9.
9. Yeah.
Yeah. It was at that point that I fell in love with Toma. Absolutely. Just to see that was just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
He is undoubtedly my number one protagonist. He is just wow.
For
But
real.
yeah. That in my opinion, best protagonist, and then Stiyl afterwards.
Respectable.
Epic. Well, that's all, folks. We have run out of time, but it has been a blast. I would like to thank you all for watching the podcast and for you all for joining in with Malcolm, Toonie, and Stiyl. Be sure to subscribe and follow each of their channels in the description. But in the case of Stiyl is on Toaru Amino, so you can follow him there, make an account if you are into that sort of thing. Stiyl does regularly post about the series, I think, still, don't you?
Yeah, no, I still post about fan art, even the wacky ones. You'll find them on there.
Cool. Yes, and Toonie also makes content about Index and Railgun, so please subscribe to Toonie and follow him on Twitter. That'd be great. And Malcolm is existing, but he will eventually do something, I'm sure.
I was actually working on a script last night.
Hype! Script hype!
Yeah.
Okay.
I won't spoil what it is, but once I'm done with it, you're gonna think I'm on the spectrum. Hint, hint.
Oh, interesting. Oh, we got another super chat. Thank you, Misaka, again. Thank you. You guys should read Watchmen. Alan Moore's writing reminds me of Komachi's writing. I've seen the film, but I've not read the graphic novel.
I've read the graphic novel. I can actually see it, yeah. It's very multi-perspective, multiple protagonists with like a lot of like focus on world building.
I think like Komachi, the way he likes to write his villains with like the ends justify the means sort of thing. I think that's kind of like Ozymandias, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's kind of like Fiamma in that way, where he wants to like nuke the world.
I feel like I'm so lost on this all. This is like DC stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm about to say, hopefully I'm not that too out of it.
But yeah, we will end it there, unfortunately. But yeah, thank you all again, and we will see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.